Chair, we do have a quorum. I'm not seeing Julie on yet, but as soon as she jumps on, we'll promote her.
I'm just going to give her a little bit longer here, but yeah. We'll let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. And this is a special meeting of the Montana Board of Public Education. We have a single agenda item, and we are meeting via Zoom. Today is Monday, June 16th, and the time is 8:30 Mountain Time. We'll begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and
justice for all.
It is super handy that my profile pic has me holding a flag. Chris, we'll begin with the roll.
All right. Oops, my computer's.
While you're working on that, Chris, I'll go ahead and just read our statement of public participation. The Board of Public Education encourages the public to participate in board discussions. Persons who wish to participate should sign the public comment sign-in sheet and identify themselves to the board chair or executive director prior to the board's consideration of the matter in which the persons are concerned. Anyone wishing to participate in board discussions will be recognized by the chair in keeping with normal board parliamentary procedure. We discourage public comment on personnel matters and ask that you discuss these issues in private with the board chair. The Montana Board of Public Education is a professional development unit provider. Attending a BPE meeting may qualify you to receive professional development units. Please let us know if you want to those, but I don't think we're going to have any available for today. Chris, your computer cooperating?
Yep, I'm ready to go.
Go ahead.
All right, Chair Tharp.
Here.
Vice Chair Slinger.
Here.
Lisa Schmidt.
Excused.
Julie Maxwell.
Absent.
Madeline Quinlan.
Here.
Anna Neeskens.
Excused.
Renee Rasmussen. She's here.
Here.
Gavin Mao. Superintendent Hedlund. Commissioner Christian's office. Governor Jean Forte's office.
All right, thank you. And do we have any visitors?
And I'm not sure you called Madeline, but she's here too.
She did.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
We have any visitors online, McCall? Anybody wish to be identified?
I'm not seeing any hands up.
Okay. All right. Entertain a motion to adopt our agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Or a motion by Madeline, seconded by Renee to adopt our agenda. All in any more discussion? Any public comment? All in favor of adopting the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have an agenda. Board Member Rasmussen, our lone agenda item is yours.
Thank you very much, Chairman Tharp. You will see in your packet what we're looking at today. Since I wasn't directly involved in the group that helped put this together, I'm going to turn this over to McCall for any explanations. What I do see is that all the changes are underlined, correct, McCall? And so there's only a few things, so I'll let her make any comments that needed to be done.
Yeah, thank you, Board Member Rasmussen. I do want to give a little bit of an explanation. I think it'll be really helpful to sort of some background here and why sort of the expediency. Obviously, the legislature took some time in adopting some of these rules and getting them to the governor's office. The Early Literacy Advisory Council didn't meet right away after the legislature. There's actually still a bill out there that hasn't even been adopted yet that has to do with early numeracy as well. It is sitting in the governor's office, and it has a lot to do with early numeracy adoption. And so while waiting for that bill and waiting to take action on this bill, the Early Numeracy or Early Literacy Advisory Council was sort of waiting to meet to make recommendations to the Board of Public Education. Well, while they were waiting to meet, there was some hopes that they could come together and at least devise a plan for putting a rule package together for the Board of Public Ed. While they came together for their first meeting just a couple weeks ago, it was clear that the transition and applicability sections of the bills said that schools can't adopt anything. They can't implement any of the new early numeracy sections until the Board of Public Ed adopts rules. And we all know that that takes some time. And so in order for school districts to do anything this year, we knew that the Board of Public Ed would have to do something right now. And so that's why you're seeing this rule in front of you right now. The Early Literacy Advisory Council actually put this rule together. They met last week to adopt this rule kind of temporarily to get something in place for this school year. I'll tell you that they plan to also simultaneously meet to revise this rule to get something in place that looks like what we did for early literacy for the future years. And so this is really just something that we can put in place for this year. I will go through the rule a little bit for you so you have a better idea, because there is a new rule and then a little bit of a revision to the early childhood education standards. Unfortunately, they're a little bit backwards. So you'll see at the bottom of page 2 of the new rule package is the amendment. This is 1063-110. These are the early learning developmental domains and content standards. If you go to section 2 of these, you'll see the new sections in here, like Board Member Rasmussen had mentioned. The new part of this basically just says, and mathematics and numeracy. If you remember previously, the early literacy targeted interventions basically said that students who were eligible for the program were to learn early literacy. Now with bringing in early numeracy, students are to learn early literacy and numeracy. So what we're doing here is saying that students who are eligible for the programs are to receive early English language arts and math and numeracy. So we're really just bringing in section A, and then you'll see here section C. And then if you continue down into section, I guess it's page 7 of that new rule package, that's a new adoption. And what that basically says, it's new rule 1054-903. And this is where the early literacy targeted intervention rules live right now. And the idea of including this new rule here is, like I said, the Early Literacy Advisory Council will simultaneously revise this rule for next year. So it lives already in the right place. So this temporary rule right now basically says, for any school district who already assessed students for the early literacy targeted interventions for the fall, they can include those eligible students in early literacy and early numeracy. And so that's all this new rule says. In the future, like I said, this rule will be revised to include both numeracy, all of those skills and that evaluation methodology that we saw for early literacy. And then Board Member Rasmussen, I do just want to point out the timeline. I think this is really important for folks who want, who have the question of, well, when will this go and when will this be in place? What's the effective date? Well, the adoption notice will go to the Secretary of State on August 8th, and the effective date will be August 9th, just in time for school to start. And so you'll see here, we actually have to file this with the Secretary of State tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get it actually filed later today. This will be the public comment time will start June 27th. We will have a public hearing on July 18th. That is the public comment deadline. The adoption notice will then have to come to the Board of Public Ed July 25th or 28th. That's about within the timeline that it needs to come to us. And then we will have to file it with the Secretary of State by the 29th. It will be published on the 8th, effective date on the 9th. In my timeline, or in my time at the Board of Public Ed, this is definitely the quickest rule we've ever adopted. So I just want to thank you all in advance for doing this. Without adopting this rule this quickly, school districts would have to wait another year in order for students to be able to, who are eligible to be able to do early numeracy. So I thank you all in advance for doing this. I'm happy to turn it back to you, Board Member Rasmussen, and answer questions if board members have them.
I have a question.
And you are muted, Board Member Rasmussen.
Oh, I'm muted. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
First of all, I want to commend Director Flynn for working out this solution, and the Early Literacy Council for everybody turning on a dime. For those of us who have had to implement legislation, which is sort of in the works the moment the legislature is done, it takes a lot of work to make that happen. So I think this is a good solution. It's a short-term rule which will be replaced by more details, I presume, in the near future. So I guess, McCall, I had asked you, you said the effective date of the rule is August 9th, or that's the earliest effective date we'll have. Does this, what does this mean for any summer programs this year?
Board Member Rasmussen, Board Member Quinlan, that's a really good question. The legislation actually had intended for this to be effective for the summer jumpstart programs. But again, because all of this hinged on board adoption of board member rules, there's no way that this would have been done in time for summer jumpstart programs. Even if we would have started on this after the House Bill 338 would have been signed, we still wouldn't have met that timeline. I just think sometimes we don't act the same way as an agency. And I don't think sometimes the legislature totally understands that. And so maybe that was my fault a little bit of like totally not educating them on the fact that they probably wouldn't have met that timeline. But they had definitely intended for this to be implemented by this summer. I will tell you that schools are not doing early numeracy this summer in the way in which they had intended for it to happen.
Okay. Thank you. And I don't think there's any fault here. I just, it's good we're moving this quickly as it is. Just the other question I had is the Early Literacy Advocacy Council one of our advisory councils that has like a 2-year life?
Yeah, it is our advisory council. We actually created them in September of 2023.
So are we going to need to renew the council this fall?
Yeah, if they continue past September, we will need to renew them. And it's likely that they will have a suggestion to you by September, so we might not need to renew them, but we may want to just in case we need them past September.
Great, thank you. And thank you for your good work on this.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, Mr. Chair, I have a motion.
Go ahead.
I move to proceed, or I move to approve the Early Literacy Advisory Council recommendation on the proposed notice of public hearing and timeline pertaining to rulemaking in ARM 10 or ARM Title 10, Chapter 54, Early Numeracy Integration for the 2025-2026 school year, and Title 10, Chapter 63, Early Childhood Education Content Standards, and authorize filing of the notice with the Secretary of State for publication in the Montana Administrative Register.
I'm not repeating that back. You heard the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We got a second. Is there any board member discussion? For the record, this was Representative Romano's bill, House Bill 338. It passed through the House with solid support. Little bit split in the Senate. Was finally concurred in the Senate only on April 11th and finally signed by the governor on May 5th. So we're just barely a month beyond getting this, the chapter number assigned and this bill even being in. So I understand this is not the normal way we like to do rulemaking, and it is not the way the legislature intended for us to do rulemaking. But what we are doing is legal and certainly in compliance with the spirit of this law. And even if we had that ability to get it spun around quick enough for summer programs, I mean, any of you who've been in the schools, you know that they couldn't possibly have put anything together for this summer anyway, and it's already going to be tight. And so that's why we're proceeding with this. So give the schools as much flexibility as possible as soon as we can possibly give it to them. Any other board member discussion on this?
Just one comment, McCall, will school districts be aware of this change by, that will happen by August 9th so they can order, so they can do whatever they need to for this fall?
Yeah, that's a great question, Board Member Rasmussen. We've been working with, we have folks from MQEC, school administrators, MTSBA that are on our council, and they are ready to blast it out to their folks who are ready to do this.
All right. There's no other board member discussion. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Don't see any. All
No
right.
hands up.
All right, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of approving the motion as presented signify by saying aye. Any opposed? All right. Motion carries. Is there any other public comment?
No
All
hands.
right. Well, thank you. Again, I'd like to echo what was already said, Director Flynn. Excellent work getting this turned around this quickly. Policy and all of this sort of stuff is not my wheelhouse, and I am certainly glad that it is yours. And so we see our tight time frame here, and we'll be proceeding with things this summer. And so everybody look forward to your emails as far as when these different hearing dates are, and we'll be getting this cranked out and get this to the schools by the time school starts again. If there is nothing else, this meeting is adjourned. I thank you all for your time. Safe travels, Dr. Slinger. We'll look forward to seeing you back in the 406 shortly, and we'll close this meeting. The time is 8:48.
Thank you.
Thank you all.